Hi, everyone. Welcome back to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. As always, here's Yinka Yusuf,
Hello.
and I'm Akin Adike. Mr. YY, how are you
Yes,
doing today,
boss.
sir?
I'm very good. I'm very good.
Nice.
You?
I'm great. We had a big game in the EPL that we need to get
And,
to.
and I see you're
Uh,
wearing, in solidarity, you're wearing
I am.
your Arsenal kit.
I'm wearing this is this season's, right? Yeah,
This
this
is yeah. This
season's,
is this
they
season.
wore this today.
Home kit.
Yeah, home
Uh,
kits.
home
They
kit.
wore this
Yeah.
today, even though they were not at home, but they wore this. Uh,
So
I'll-
I decided to do something a bit different today.
okay, tell
Yeah.
us.
So see what I'm wearing?
Oh, okay. You know what? Now
Aha.
is as good a time as any to tell people what is Abre Sports.
So Abre Sports is a football club in Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria. They play in the third tier of the Nigerian league, and Akin and myself are part owners of this football club. And shout out to the CEO, my very good brother, Abdullah Yusuf, who's doing a fantastic job with the team.
Yes, he
So
is.
actually, they had a final game too today, one of the friendly
Yeah.
tournaments that they had. They lost on penalties. It was 0-0 full time. They lost on penalties. So I'm also wearing this in solidarity of our team. Yeah. So
It,
that's Average Sports, guys. I think we'll just put their social media handles on
we
when we
should.
release this. So
Yeah, we
guys,
should.
show them the necessary support, give them the necessary love. There are some talented youngsters in there that we're looking to help with their careers and make them fantastic footballers for the country and for themselves.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this podcast is not me and Yinka's first venture together.
Yep.
Abre Sports is. It's like this one. It's a labor of love. Uh, our love for the game is not just in love only. It's in blood, sweat, tears, and sometimes quite a bit of money.
Yeah, quite a bit of money.
you
Yeah.
know, but in a few short years, we've seen the team really come together. We have a U17. Are we gonna have a U13 again this year?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, we have a U13. It's all about grassroots development for us. And
Yeah.
we've had some success. We've had some success. We can get into it some other time, but
Yeah, we
it's
will.
encouraging.
Some other time. Some other time.
All right. Yeah, thank you,
Cool, cool,
Inka.
cool. No
All
problem at
right.
all. So what do we have on the agenda today?
Ooh, man, do we have a show for you? All right. So the European leagues have been off because of the FIFA I guess international window for the last 2 weeks. We're just gonna skip right over that because we don't care about none of the games that happens.
They should
Uh,
just cancel it.
they should just. I know. I mean, but anyway,
Irrelevant friendly matches happened.
yeah,
People got injured. It's
yeah,
just
people got injured. Yeah, England lost,
bloody
which makes me happy.
inconvenience.
So that's something, but totally unnecessary. Okay, so let's get right into it. Let's start with Germany and do that
Yeah.
very quickly. So
Yep.
Yinka, tell us what happened in Germany. There was a big declaration by Thomas Tuchel, the outgoing manager of Bayern. He conceded
Yeah.
the title to Bayer Leverkusen this weekend. Tell us why
Mm-hmm.
and tell us how happy that makes you.
So I'll take it a step further and tell you how pissed off I am
Oh,
that he actually did that. So first things first, the earlier game was between Leverkusen and Offenheim. Offenheim, they scored first, and until 88 minutes, it was still 1-0 to Offenheim. Then Leverkusen equalized. Then once again, their talisman of recent times, Patrick Schick, scored in the 91st minute, and Leverkusen got the win. Fast forward 24 hours. It was the same day, actually. It wasn't 24 hours. It was the same
Well, I
day.
think it was. I
Couple
think
of
it may have been the same day. It was yesterday, wasn't it?
It was
Wasn't it yesterday?
Or did
Yeah, it was
Leverkusen
Thursday.
play on
Oh,
Friday? I might be mixing it up. But
yeah. I think anyway.
they
Yeah,
played, Bayern played after Leverkusen at
yeah.
home to Borussia Dortmund, and they were comprehensively beaten 2-0 by Dortmund. Right? And after that, Tuchel was interviewed and he said There's no point counting points anymore. How much is it now? 10 or 13.
13, by the
Congratulations
way,
to
for
Bayern
those counting at
Leverkusen.
home.
For those, yeah, exactly. Congrats to Bayern Leverkusen. They've won. And I'm like, dude, until it's mathematically impossible for you to catch your opponents as the coach, you don't come out and openly throw in the towel. What are you doing?
You do not. You do not.
You don't do that. You're sending the wrong vibes. You might say, "Oh, I'm not here next season, so I can do whatever." But your future employers are looking at you and they're like, "Is this the kind of person we want to bring on board?" That is very, very immature of him, right? You should not, at any point, until it is mathematically proven that you can't catch them, you don't say anything. And we've seen things happen in football. There's been many miracles in the past. What stops that from happening to Bayern? Or you openly throwing in the towel, you've sent the wrong message to the fans, to the club, to the players. It's just it's not professional at all. What's your take?
Okay, I'm glad you brought up that anything can happen because something did happen between those two clubs just last season, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
Dortmund were primed to win the Bundesliga, and then
mm-hmm.
they pretty much threw it away on the last day
Yeah,
and
yeah.
opened up the door for an undeserving Bayern to win. So
To
this
win,
just happened. And then you come out and you're like, oh, 13 points. How many more games to go? 8, 9. Yeah, we're done. There's still a lot of points out there. Leverkusen are fighting in Europe. That's not something they're used to doing. They just
absolutely,
struggled against Qarabag, which is, again, Azerbaijani club. Who knows if they'll struggle again the next round? Who knows if they can actually
exactly.
do all this and keep this pressure of being undefeated? They're still undefeated in all competitions, right?
Yeah,
Can they keep up that pressure? You are the
and
big
and
boys. You've won 11 straight. You should be saying, "Hey, we can do this. Can they do it?" It's interesting.
exactly. You should be playing mind games on them. They're playing
You should
West
be.
Ham in the next round of the UEFA, right? So just don't throw in the towel. Put it out there. Put that fear in them. But right now, your own players will just be like, "Coach has said we can win it. We can win
Yeah,
it.
it's
Let's
over.
just forget about it." That's
Yeah,
not. But in actual fact, I think it's over. Yeah.
yeah. We know it's over, but we just don't need to say it. If we're, I
You
mean,
don't need
you
to
and I
say
are
it.
not getting paid to win the Bundesliga.
You don't need to say it. We don't need to say
All
it.
right.
Anyway, so that's the
So
Bundesliga. Where are we going
yeah,
next?
let's move on that one. Nothing changed in France, so we're just gonna skip right along. Nothing changed.
Mbappe
Uh,
was angry that he was substituted today,
yeah, you'll be okay
and
eventually.
what's his name? Enrique came out and said, "Dude, I'm the coach here. I'm the one in charge. I'll do whatever I
S-
feel is right for PSG." So you
So
can
I've
just
been
shut the
waiting.
door on PSG. PSG. I mean, on Mbappe resigning with PSG, just close that
PSG,
door. At this
he
point,
was never gonna
I
come
don't
back
think it's gonna
anyway.
happen.
Yeah, but you and I have talked about Enrique in the past. He's really
Yeah,
stubborn. He
very
he always
stubborn.
falls out with whoever he's managing. That this is really what he did today is just on brand. This is what he does.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
it.
uh, I'm surprised it took this long for the first clash to happen, but this is what he does. So we're gonna move on. Brest is not catching up anytime soon, so PSG
Anytime
will
soon.
win the title.
PSG will win that
In
convincingly.
Italy, Inter will win. I think we've already said this like 4 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, and they play on
So
Monday. They play tomorrow. By the way, we're recording on 31st March on a
yeah,
Sunday.
Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night.
Just so you know. So Inter play tomorrow Monday. Um, Napoli lost at home to Atlanta 3-0, which was quite surprising. I don't know what's going on
Mm.
with Napoli. They look a shadow of themselves. You can't tell me you only got rid of one player, which is the Kim. What's his name again? Keep mixing it up. The Korean guy that went to Bayern
Yeah,
Munich rather, and
yeah.
Kim. And you can't
Kim,
tell me
yeah.
you only sold Kim and everything just collapsed like a pack of cards. It's I don't understand what's going on. But they changed coaches actually. The coach they had last season left, remember? And they brought in a couple of people. One has gone again. Now they have a new coach. So maybe that's what's happening with Napoli. But man, disaster yesterday. Atlanta convincingly beat them 3-0 at home.
Now, Atalanta face Liverpool next in the Europa, I
Yes.
believe. Okay.
Yes.
Um, I don't think this is going to be a walkover for Liverpool.
Far from
Um,
it.
far from it. I don't
Far
think
from it.
Liverpool can afford to just play the kids. So while, and I know we're jumping ahead a little bit to the
Mm-hmm.
EPL. So while fans of Liverpool may think, oh, we're not in the Champions League, we don't have to worry about anything like City and Arsenal. I don't think they know Klopp. Klopp is not going to throw any game. He will play everything to the last. That's just what he does.
I
So
agree.
that should be interesting.
And Atlanta have a very, very good squad.
Mm-hmm.
They have a player that I love. I mean, I was surprised a lot of people didn't, look into getting him. The Dutch guy, Koop Miners,
Mm.
left-legged player, left midfielder, fantastic left foot, fantastic footballer. He shouldn't be at Atlanta. It's a shock he's
Ooh,
still
what
there.
are you trying to say? Atlanta has been pretty consistent over the last like 4 or 5 years. I mean, they're not a bad team.
Yeah, but you
You
know
know,
what they
I know
do?
what you
They
mean.
they
I know what you
take
mean.
they take the rejected stones everywhere and
Yes, they
they
do.
mold them
They do.
together. You have
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Skamaka there. You have even our own Lookman is there
Lookman
also.
is there. Yeah.
Yeah. But they have a decent squad actually. So it's not gonna be a walkover for Liverpool at all. Yeah.
All right. Let's
So
jump
when
to
next are we going? La Liga?
La Liga. La Liga. What happened in La Liga? Did
Yes.
he change anything?
Nothing. All the top three sides won. Girona won. Barca won barely. They are playing against 10-man Las Palmas and they struggled to beat Las Palmas 1-0. Madrid won against Sevilla. Did they win? It was 2-0 the last time I checked. I think they won today.
Let's check real quick.
Let's quickly check. I think Madrid won. Yeah, Madrid won 2-0. It ended
Okay.
2-0. I watched the game for the large part of it. I tell you, these guys were playing like they were in the first gear. The game was, you just saw Man City, right, struggle. Well, not really struggle, but you get what I mean. They had a
Yeah.
very tough game today. Sevilla,
Yeah.
Bilbao, they're not a bottom team in the Spanish
No.
league. That was too comfortable for Madrid. Too comfortable. They didn't even play with a striker, a recognized striker. They had
Well, I
Brian
mean,
Diaz as the 9 today. So it was Rodrigo, Diaz, Vinny Jr. didn't play. So Rodrigo got both goals. Bellingham played, but it was too comfortable. And I don't know. They're gonna
so
walk. They're walking. They're taking the league with them. It's Cottons in Spanish league. I think
so
Madrid have the title already.
you've been saying this about Madrid, right? So one, you can only beat what's in front of you. That's number one.
Fair point. Yeah.
Um, there is absolutely no excuse for Atletico Madrid to not be good. You know, they returned all their big players. They have the same coach. It's probably still the highest paid coach in Europe. But he's a
Mm-hmm.
scam. They're a scam. Because they should be winning the league. I'm sorry. Like the number of injuries that Real Madrid had for the first half of the season, they should not be
Yeah.
leading any of the top five leagues in Europe.
Nowhere. Yep.
Okay,
I
so
agree.
what is the point of you having? Again, I said this when I did my Arsenal take a few weeks ago. What is the point of
Mm-hmm.
stability when it just leads to stagnation? You know,
Yeah.
so you have the same coach, you have the same system, you have really extremely highly paid players, at least in your front line. You have people on your bench that other top teams would pretty much, kill to have. And it's stagnation. It's every year you're bouncing between third and fourth. You haven't mounted a real title challenge in what, 5 years, maybe? So you're
Yeah.
living off of the one title you won off Barcelona and Real Madrid. Is a scam. They're a scam. I'm done with them. Um,
I agree with you. I totally agree with
it's
you.
you
Totally
know,
agree with you. Simeone, what else can he do at this point? What else? What else can we see or can we hope to see from Simeone at this point? You've
theatrics on the
seen the
bench, I
best.
guess.
right? And I don't get it. Why is he still the coach? And you know the funniest part, you have actually a decent offensive team. You
Yeah.
have Griezmann, you have Korea, you have this Dutch guy that was at United before. What's his name again?
Depay,
The black
Memphis,
boy.
Memphis Depay.
Depay. You have
Yeah.
Memphis Depay. You have Morata. You have and you're playing the way you're playing. It's inexcusable. It should have been fired a long time ago. I don't see what they
Yeah.
see in him. It's just unfortunate. But you're right. They are currently in fifth, although they have a
It's
game in hand.
ridiculous.
That's not where
Yeah.
they should be. That's not where
Yeah.
they
I,
should
I feel
be.
like I feel like there's
They're
a
10 points behind Girona.
oh
Check that
come
out.
on, man. I feel like there's a inferiority complex here where they feel like he took them out of obscurity, relative obscurity,
Yeah.
made them competitive. They stole
Mm-hmm.
one title,
Mm-hmm.
became a regular in Europe. That wasn't really what they did for a long time. They used to advance a little bit in the old UEFA/Europa leagues, but they didn't
Yeah.
do anything in the Champions League. And then because he was the one who did that, he can't do no wrong. Again, we've seen this with other
Nah.
clubs before. Like, just have some more
Yeah.
pride and have a little bit more higher expectations from when you're paying all this money to this guy. But
Yeah.
you know,
And just tell him, yeah, we're not gonna fire you by the end of this season. Just announce that you're leaving.
yeah,
Yeah, let's just
pretty
do it that
much.
way. So you save. I mean, we help you, so it won't seem as if we fired you. But guy, we're not renewing your contract. That's what it should be.
Yeah, go coach in
Anyway,
Syria. Go coach in Syria.
yeah,
It
or
would
go back to
go.
Argentina.
Yeah, go coach Atalanta. It would be a
Yeah.
very good coach for Atalanta.
Anyway, so
Okay.
last stop EPL.
Oh, two big games today, and several other games nobody cares about. Where do you want to start from, brother?
Okay, so let me get the smaller games out of the way. Then we
Okay,
can
let's do that.
focus on the City Arsenal and a bit of the Liverpool Brighton. So
Liverpool, Liverpool, Brighton. Yes,
Brighton,
Brighton.
yeah.
Yeah,
A couple of things happened yesterday, right? First things first, I'll start off with United. That game kind of summarizes the story of United perfectly.
yeah,
You played garbage for the whole 90 minutes. Brentford
yeah,
had record number of shots on target against any team against you. You then snatch 96th, 95th minute goal by Mason Mount, who both you and I we really love, right?
yeah.
And we are happy. I'm happy he's back. I was happy he
Me
scored the
too.
goal. I
Me
was like,
too.
wow, this is snatch and grab for United. Wow, they didn't really deserve it, but that's a good 3 points for them. Only for the team to go to the other side. Brentford went to the other side immediately after kickoff, and they equalized in the worst defensive breakdown I will ever see. And I'm like, what is happening to United? I don't know. What is happening? It's like, these cartoons that we watch where you
Yeah,
see somebody is running, but he's running on the spot. You just see his
yeah,
leg.
yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what is happening to
There's a lot of
United.
movement, but no motion. Is that what it is? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
They are
yeah.
sprinting on the spot. That's what they're doing. They are 11 points off top four, and their goal difference is still zero.
May I?
Take it away.
So I watched the game on the plane. As you know, I was traveling yesterday. So
Mm-hmm.
drained my battery completely on this useless game. Uh, by the time we landed, my battery was at like 3% or whatever. But we're gonna move on. So I'm watching this and I'm like, is Wissa a superstar? Because I'm like, I thought Brentford was all about Ivan Tony, but Wissa was unplayable. Okay, they could not defend this guy. I'm like, Wissa had a better game against Man United, which is what they probably built that team for £2 billion, than he did in any of the AFCON matches that he played. So I'm like, do they play better defense at AFCON than Man U does? I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, what is going on? Like Wissa looked like a world beater. He had no respect for these guys. He was doing whatever the hell he wanted. He wasn't waiting for Tony to set the pace. And I'm like, if they had Mbuemo yesterday, it would have been a 3-0 game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh,
And Ten Hag he came on board and said for the first time he actually conceded that Brentford were better. I'm like, what were you gonna say before? Because he's always saying, oh, the ref didn't do this, we had a
yeah,
penalty, they did
yeah,
that.
yeah,
That's his strategy. This time around, he came out and said they were better than we were. I was like, oh, really? So you can say this? It was disappointing.
yeah.
United fans deserve better than this. If you go through the history of the club, the kind of players they have, the nature of the football they play, the attacking play, the wing play, the strikers, the midfielders they have, even the solid defenders they have, this current set of United team, players and coach alike, they are a disgrace to that brand called Man United.
Hmm.
And they need to wipe the slate clean and start afresh. If I
Well,
were to
careful
be in
what you
charge of
wish for.
Manchester United, I will sell almost the whole squad at this point.
All
And
right,
you
two
then build an
things.
identity. Go ahead.
Two things, Jinka. Number one, careful what you wish for. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
whoever is doing the buying and selling did not come from Chelsea. Yes, I was always gonna get Chelsea into the story somehow. You know this. So that's one. Two, can you trust this manager? Why am I asking? This man was the coach at Ajax. Anthony, the Brazilian, was at Ajax. Mohamed Kudus, the Ghanaian, was at Ajax. This man says, I need Anthony, I don't need Kudus. Okay? It takes £100 million of someone else's money and buys absolute garbage. All right? And then Kudus shows up, okay, a couple months later at a different club, and we're like, oh my God, this guy is good. Right? But their coach, his former coach, could have bought him for 40 million. He ended up going to West Ham for what, 40 or 45 million? I think it was
45.
40 million.
45, I
45
think.
million.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Anthony for 89 million or Kudus for 40. Kudus is at this point is unplayable at West Ham.
Yep.
You can't
Yep.
you can't touch him.
Is West Ham's player of the season by far.
And Man U's manager was his manager. Could have got him. Could have taken him to Man U. But they took Anthony. So
They need to wipe the slate clean, Aki. Right?
that needs to
Those
include the
guys,
manager.
yes, I'm
Okay,
including the
okay,
manager. Then you look for
okay.
no, not just you thought I meant players only.
Mm,
I can go even as far as the board, whoever, the whole high, because you don't buy players just based on how they've performed at their club. You look at the
mm,
player you're getting and you say, how does this fit into my club, my style of play, my orientation, my
mm,
culture, how we play? That's what matters. You have to do that. That's what Klopp did at Liverpool. Klopp is always
absolutely.
looking for players that are fast and strong. Liverpool will not buy a player that is just slicky and no. You have to have that drive, that self motivation, that hustle. You need to define. Man United need to define. This is how we want to play. This is how we want to play football. Then you go and start hunting for players or searching for players that fit that style of play.
Mm.
Not you see that, Anthony scored, or Gagada, or whatever is his name. Anthony scored, so. He'll come to United. Nah, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Anyway, enough of United.
Okay.
So before we go on to those two main games, two other games I'd love to touch on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm touching on this because of the poor refereeing decisions that
Oh
happened in these two
gosh.
games.
All right, go for it.
The first one is Newcastle West Ham.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Newcastle won 4-3. They
Yeah.
had two penalties. At this point, I don't know what a penalty is anymore.
Yeah.
I've given up. I thought I was the only one when I was watching the game, but
No.
the studio guys in Nigeria here was UK guys, was Andy Cole and Peter Schmeichel, and the two of
Mm.
them are like, there is no way in hell either of those are penalties. What is this ref doing? What is this ref doing? And I was
So,
like, exactly what I thought.
and for people who didn't watch, the summary is defender is just playing the ball. He's just doing his job, right? He doesn't even see the attacker right next to him, right? Attacker sees the trajectory of where the ball is going and where the leg of the defender is going and puts
And
his
puts his
leg
leg there.
right there, right? Puts his leg right there.
He
So
didn't kick the ball.
the next natural move that the defender is going to make just to advance the ball, moving out of the box, was going to hit the defender. Sorry, the attacker. There was nothing the defender could do about it. Never saw the guy. Never tried to even tackle him. Forget about trying to hurt him or anything like that. And they go to VAR, and VAR confirms it. That's the most disappointing part of it.
It's horrible. Now I
Yeah.
thought that was the worst. Then I fast forward to Chelsea Burnley. Oh my god. So first things first, Chelsea
Gosh.
could not beat a 10-man Burnley.
I know.
They were lucky. Burnley could have scored. The J. Rodriguez had a header that hit the post, and his follow-up with the bicycle kick, he blazed it over. Very, very close to scoring. But before that, Mikhail Modric on the right back, Burnley's right back, Arsenal did not foul Mikhail Modric. He touched his shoulder. Modric goes flying.
Into
The
the
ref
box.
says penalty. Then the ref gives him a yellow card,
Yeah.
which is his
Yeah.
second yellow card, and he was sent off.
Yeah.
And Akin, first episode or second episode, I said this, that these refs have this stupid thing where they give a yellow card to justify stupid decisions that they've made.
Yeah.
Just to say that, yeah, I'm very, very sure of this.
I'm confident on this. Yeah.
Exactly. There was no way that was a foul. Not even talk of a yellow card. It should have been a yellow card to Modric, not to Arsenal.
For diving.
And
sometimes it's literally no harm, no foul. You try to get a penalty. I didn't buy it. I'm the adult in the room. I'm just going to move on. Why can't you just do that?
Then Vincent Kompany goes bonkers and calls the ref and is like, you so said all sorts of choice words to him. And the ref sends Vincent Kompany off. At that point, I remember the discussion you and I had, where you said that Kompany said they give them inexperienced refs.
The C team, pretty much.
Exactly. And I looked at the ref and I'm like, I don't know you. I'm telling you, that's what came to my mind. I looked at the ref like, dude, I don't know you. Who is this?
Who are you? Yeah.
And I'm like, this is exactly what this guy is talking about.
Yeah.
And it just goes to confirm what we said. That at this point, this whole VAR, this whole whatever, this refereeing cult, quote and unquote, is now just what they're worried about is don't make my fellow ref look bad. That's what it is. Then they don't care about consistency. They don't care about getting the right decision. Just don't make the refs look bad. And if that is their objective, see, they didn't come out to say it categorically, but in one of the interviews, they do this like ref reviews that Michael Owen and Howard Webb. Howard Webb said it.
It's not substantive in any way.
Howard Webb said it. He said, and we don't want a ref to look bad. He actually said it. Yeah. And I'm like, this is the chief ref for the EPL. And he has openly told you that he's more interested in not making his team look bad than getting the right decision. At this point, I don't know what the penalty is anymore.
I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go with this. I really want to believe, Yinka, that it all evens out at the end of the season, but I think that's just statistically that makes no sense.
Not for Burnley.
Yeah, well, that's
not
true.
For Burnley, obviously.
I mean, they got bigger issues. Anyway.
Come on.
They're going straight back to the
Anyway,
championship. Straight back to the championship. So
I needed to get that out of my system.
yeah, no, I'm
I
with
was
you.
just, it was bad, very, very
Yeah.
bad. Anyway, Villa and Spurs won, so they're still
Third and fourth.
fighting for that
Yep.
fourth spot. Like I said, United are now 11 points. Behind. At this point, they might as well just forget, even making Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
At all.
They might be better off
Then
not
earlier,
making anything. Might be better
absolutely,
off.
I agree.
Yeah.
Then earlier on today, Liverpool, Brighton.
Can I say something before
Brighton,
then? Can I say
go ahead.
something? Chelsea are still top of the table. The second half of the table. Continue. That's all I wanted to say. If your table has 2 pages, Chelsea they're at the top of the second page of your table. Go on.
Yeah,
The
they're on
11th
top
out
of
of
part two
20.
with plus 1 goal difference.
Plus
Is
1
it still
goal
plus one?
difference. Do
It's
you
still
know how
plus one,
hard it
isn't
is
it?
to spend, what is it, 2 billion pounds and have a
Yeah.
plus 1 goal? Yinka, you posted something in our group during
Mm-hmm.
the Arsenal game. There was 6 minutes, Arsenal City at the Etihad,
Yes.
City's home stadium. And
Yep.
there was 6 minutes of injury time.
Injury time. Mm-hmm.
And Yinka, you said Arsenal are plus 8 goals difference in injury
In
time
injury time.
in the EPL.
Yep.
Haven't
Yep.
conceded 0.
0.
So I just want to make this very clear. Arsenal have a better goals difference in injury
In
time
injury time.
in 23-24 that Man U have
And
in the
Chelsea
entire league,
combined.
and Chelsea have in the entire league than both of them
Combined.
combined.
Because Chelsea, they're on +2 now. +2. And United, glorious 0. So they have
Bruh,
+2 for the whole league.
this is hard to
Anyway.
do. I mean, these guys are just breaking records anyhow. But you know what? Let me not derail the conversation any further. Let's get into the big.
Uh,
Let's do Liverpool first. Let's do Liverpool. So
so Liverpool, Brighton.
yeah,
Interesting game. Brighton started off like a house on fire. Danny Welbeck scored a fantastic goal. And I'm
yeah,
like,
very early. Yeah,
it's IGG, is what we call initial Gragra in Nigeria. So when Liverpool equalized, although that equalizer, I had a problem with it.
oh, really? Tell me.
Inconsistency
Tell
again
me
in
what
terms of
happened.
refereeing decision. So it deflected off Veltman, the Brighton right back.
Yes, it
But
kicked it back towards his goal. Yes.
no, so they said he kicked, Abby. You
Mm-hmm.
remember Arsenal
Mm.
Everton.
Yes,
Arsenal
yes, yes,
Everton.
yes,
Similar thing happened.
yes.
What was the conclusion?
Not offside. Yeah,
They said they said it was offside and they cancelled our goal. They
it
cancelled the
was
Arsenal
offside.
goal.
Yeah, yeah. This one not
Yeah.
offside. Yeah,
Then they said this one not offside. And I'm
not
like,
offside. Yeah.
sorry. That one too, the guy attempted to kick the ball and he hit his chin and he went
Yeah.
through to what's his name? Fabio
Yeah.
Vieira's path, and he then passed to Nketiah and stuff like that. But the
Yeah.
same thing happened today to Veltman. Came off his shin, right? And he
Mhm.
then hit what's his name? I went to Diaz and Diaz scored. But give that to them. But overall, Liverpool deserved. I think they deserve the win. They deserve the 3 points altogether.
So
And based on that, now they are on 60, 67, I think. Yeah,
they're on 67.
they're
So
on
I'll just say
67.
one quick thing about that game.
Yeah.
Before the game, Liverpool had only beaten Brighton 1 out of their last 8 games. Right?
Yeah.
So if Liverpool had a, I don't know, banana peel game, this was probably it. And also the Brighton coach, De Zerbi, is one of those in line to succeed Klopp when he leaves, right? So there's a lot of undercurrents. And then Salah again proved himself to just be absolutely clutch. That winner,
he's a monster.
Man, I wish we could show videos sometimes. It was just the way he transitioned. The pass from Szoboszlai into it didn't go straight to
He went to
to
McAllister, and
Salah. Yeah, he
McAllister
went
to
to
him.
McAllister, and then I'm like, how do you find yourself in these positions all the time? How do you take that one time shot? Man, man, I'm gushing, but that was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was really good.
Unbelievable. So Liverpool won. So they I mean they took the first position, or they overtook Arsenal,
Yeah.
67 points. Then just like 30 minutes after that game, City Arsenal match. Um, you go ahead first, because
Okay.
I had that game is a bit. It was kind of funny to me. But let me hear your take on the City Arsenal
Okay.
game.
So City at home when they played in London at the Emirates. City had
Mm-hmm.
only 4 shots and 0 on target. And
Mm-hmm.
the Arsenal goal by Martinelli in London was a deflected goal. So it was a
Yep.
drab affair when they played in London. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then today was pretty much a drab affair as well. There was spikes of things threatening to happen, but never really happened. I think
Mm-hmm.
the story of the game for me was Erling Haaland. Um, if you really want to be the equal of Kylian Mbappe, you have to be more than just a goal scorer, right?
Yeah.
It's not
Mm.
1976 where, oh, this guy can put the ball in the back of the net. Nobody else can. Football has evolved. The best coaches in the world sometimes don't even bother to play a striker, right? So you can't just be isolated and stay isolated and then click your heels, literally click your heels when you're presented with like a golden chance to put the ball away. Um, City had 71% of possession. It did not feel like it because they didn't do anything with it. Arsenal had 29% of the possession and it felt like a lot more.
Yep.
Each team finished under 1.0 expected goal.
XG.
0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 0.98 for City, 0.65 for Arsenal. So it was barely a 1-1 in that game. Possibility.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think it was a great game. I have to watch it over again. I mean, I was tense when I was watching it. But I don't think it was a great game. City didn't have their goalkeeper. Ederson wasn't available, so it was a game. The biggest storyline for me was Haaland. The second biggest was injuries. And Yinka, at the beginning, you mentioned injuries from the unnecessary international break.
Yeah.
Stones was only fit enough to be on the bench for City.
Mm-hmm.
He would
Mm-hmm.
have been absolutely important for them today. They struggled to play out of the back. They struggled to break down Arsenal's midfield. Eventually, they went wide. They brought in 2 wide players at the same time, Jeremy Doku and Jack Grealish at the same time. At the end of the
Yeah.
game, Pep was seen berating Grealish over something, and
Yeah.
Grealish was like, dude, let it go. Like, okay, I heard you, let it go. It was really bizarre. Um,
Yeah.
uh, KDB, Kevin De Bruyne, he tried. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't great. My favorite Man City player was really good. Um, Rodri was really good. But it didn't come off for him. There was no shot
Yeah.
from 30 yards that just barely sailed through. And Bernardo Silva couldn't do it by himself. On the
Yeah.
Arsenal side of things, Saka was marshaled really well, but again, he probably should not have started. He didn't play for England. Martinelli was the fourth substitute to come in. That's how I knew he wasn't fit enough to play, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Trossard came in before him, you know?
Mm.
A better player than Gabriel Jesus would have won the game for Arsenal today. He had three. I'm not
Yeah.
going to say they were clear chances. They were not clear chances, but they were as good a chance as you're going to get in a game like this. And he had to
Yeah.
put one away, and he didn't.
Mm.
To be fair, that's why City let him go. Um, and then everyone else, it was just a defensive masterclass by Arsenal.
Yeah.
Arsenal are used to being bullied. Today, they did the bullying. Gabriel at the
Yep.
back, Gabriel Magalhaes, bullied and almost made Haaland cry. They were still jawing at each other at the end.
At the
Pep,
end.
instead of facing his players, was going after Gabriel at the end of the game. Eventually, Gabriel and Haaland hugged it out or whatever. But he just
Yeah.
kept talking to Haaland. He wouldn't let it go. So I think Arsenal
Yeah.
took a step forward today. I told you that I think you have to go to the champions and beat them. They didn't do that,
Mm-hmm.
but they also didn't lose. So I'll
Exactly.
take the 1 point and we move on.
Exactly. Yeah. So I totally agree with you. It was a very cagey affair. Um, I kind of think the way I see it is like Arteta was like, guys, we can lose this game, right? As
Yeah.
against guys, we need to win this game. I don't know how that's how it felt like to me. I think Arsenal were hoping for a smash and grab, 1-0, run away, get out of jail, run away with 1-0 kind of game. Even City were cautious because Kovacic had a surprising start today. And usually, in games like this, you'll have Bernardo Silva playing midfield with Rodri and KDB, and you then play what's his name? The young English boy. What's his name again?
Foden, not
Foden.
Foden.
Then play
Yeah,
Foden on the right. Yeah, Foden on the right, and maybe Doku on the left, or what's his other
yeah.
guy's name? Or Grealish on the left. Yeah, but he
Jack
started
Grealish. Yeah,
Kovacic. Yeah, Grealish. But he started
yeah.
Kovacic in midfield, which made me think, okay, maybe Pep too is a bit cautious. Is respecting his opponent. Um,
Yes.
Overall, I think City needed the win more than Arsenal, and I'll explain. Now they're 3 points off Liverpool, right? And now they need both Arsenal and Liverpool to mess up for them to win.
Mm.
That's the truth. It's not in their hand, and they're not chasing one person. Now they are chasing two
They're
people.
chasing two.
They're chasing two. And Arsenal, on the other hand, Arsenal have a better goal difference. So the 2 points gap is just a draw and a win differential, if you get what I mean, when you
Mm.
compare it to Liverpool, right? But at this point, it's also out of Arsenal's hand. Um, but
Also true.
yeah, I think it's growth for Arsenal in the
Mm.
sense that against these two top teams, Arsenal took 4 points off both of them,
Yeah.
off Liverpool and off City, right? And a couple of seasons ago, you and I know it's bloodbath. Arsenal going to these guys, or they're coming to Arsenal, is bloodbath. So there's
Even
there's
last year it
improvement
was
there.
4-1 at the Etihad last year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and even the Liverpool game, it ended up 2-2, but it could have been 5-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the next step that Arsenal needs to take.
Mm.
There was a particular move in that second half where this guy was put through, Trossard, right? And
Oh
he
yes.
tarried. All he needed to do was one time that ball. As that pass came in, flash the ball across board one time to Martinelli. You
To
didn't even need to
Martinelli.
control the ball. And these are the tiny differences between you taking 3 points and you going home with nothing, or just going home with 1 point. But I think
Yeah.
that game had a 1-0 snatch and grab by Arsenal written all over it. It's a missed opportunity, but at the same time, it shows they came to the Etihad to say, you guys, we're going to show you Pepe today. You
Mm.
think you can bully us? We will do the bullying.
Yeah.
So
They
this
did
is
the
the
bullying.
first time in 57 games that City will not score at the Etihad. That
That's
spans over 3 years.
hard to do.
And in the 3 matches that Erling Haaland has played against Gabriel and Saliba this season, the
Community
the
Shield.
first game of the season, Community Shield, home and away, he has no goals and no shots on target.
That's and you know what's crazy? The game in London, it was all about Saliba, right?
Yep,
The game today was all about Gabriel, right?
Gabriel.
So
Yep,
so I love that they're taking turns. And then you know what? I at the end of the game when they were joining at each other, I'm like, oh, it's not that much taller than Gabriel. It was actually surprising to
it's
me.
not. It's
It's
not.
actually not that much taller than Gabriel. You
And
know?
you see the Arsenal back four, they are giants.
Yeah.
The shortest
Kivio
person in
at
that
left
back
back.
four is probably Kivio at left back, and
And he's tall.
he's 6 foot,
Yeah.
he's 6'1" or 2 or
Something.
thereabout,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the badge that Arsenal had of
Mm.
being meek, of being weak, You can bully them. I think everybody should just flush that down the toilet. Now they need to take it a step further. You need to be maniacal when it comes to killing off teams. That's the next
Yeah,
thing. Arsenal could have won that game. That Trossard chance, they could have won that game. They could have
yeah.
won that game.
So I actually thought initially I agreed with you when you send the text like, "Hey, you should
Mm.
have passed that." I'm like, "Yeah, you should have passed that." And then I saw the replay. I'm like, it would have been a very difficult pass.
Akin is just left
Okay,
leg, not right leg. Left leg, flash across. Just flash the ball across.
but
Martinelli
what?
is
But
fast.
see, I know, but benefit of hindsight. You're saying, uh, an attacking player should think pass first when he's not really that kind of player. When and then he didn't know that he wasn't gonna attract the two defenders to himself and
That
get
is
an
that
even
is the
better
tiny
pass.
difference.
Okay,
That is the tiny
no,
difference
you're not
between
wrong.
winning the championship and not winning the
You're
championship.
not wrong. You're not
And you
wrong.
could see Ateta. Ateta did exactly the same thing. You could then they showed this replay was like, just
Yeah, just
flash the
laid off.
ball. Just flash it. It was easy.
All
Anyway,
right.
so
Well,
midweek games are coming up. We'll
yeah. Well,
discuss those next weekend. There's no key game coming up. Probably City
next
home to Villa.
next week, I believe next weekend, I believe is Liverpool, Man U,
Uh,
and
Away to
and
United. Yeah.
Brighton. Yeah, and Brighton, Arsenal.
Yes.
So
Yes.
those are big. I think Luton, Arsenal midweek. I
Yeah. Luton
forget
Arsenal
who.
midweek.
Yeah, I
Sheffield
forget who.
United Liverpool
Sheffield
midweek.
United, Liverpool. So we have to
Then
do this
Villa
before
City
we
midweek.
wrap this segment. Who is gonna win it? There's 9 games to go. Liverpool at 67 now.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 67?
Liverpool at
Yeah,
67. Arsenal at 65. City 64.
64. No one
Mm.
has a game in hand. Everyone has nine
Mm.
games to play.
Same
We've
game.
looked at the run in, and it looks a little bit like Arsenal may have a tougher run in. May have a tougher
Yeah,
run in,
that's
maybe.
true.
Okay.
Yeah, they have.
But
They're going away to Spurs. They're going away to United. And they're going away to Brighton. Yeah, those
yeah,
three games are
I think you
banana
have to
peels any
win. You
day.
have to win all three if you want to be
Yeah,
champions. I think you have to win all three.
absolutely,
So you
absolutely.
had Liverpool winning all along. I believe I had at the beginning of the before the season started. I believe I had Arsenal winning. Are you changing
Mm-hmm.
your mind?
Nope.
Okay, so you still have Liverpool winning.
I think
Uh,
I think Liverpool. I think Liverpool will win it.
all right, let me say one thing real quick. I
Mm.
believe if Arsenal had won today,
Mm-hmm.
it would have put them ahead of Liverpool and 4 points ahead of City. I think I would have been able to say this with more confidence, but I still have confidence. I'm still staying with Arsenal. I think Arsenal is going to win the
So
title.
I think I hear me out. So I
Okay.
think Arsenal are better hunters than is the word hunty. Is it a real word? But you get what I
They're
mean.
better chasing than being chased, right? They're better chasing
Exactly.
than being chased. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
this might actually work in their favor.
I don't
See
disagree.
that I just have that funny feeling. It's good they didn't lose, but it's also kind of good that you're not really on top. I think they're better chasing than being chased.
Yeah, and the
If that
reason,
makes
if
sense.
I may, the reason is I think it's the underdog mentality they have. I think you either take sometimes you take your captain and your coach have the same mentality. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
Odegaard and Arteta necessarily have it, but I think this team is beginning to take Odegaard's mentality. Like
Yeah.
is scrappy, scratching. He talked himself into a yellow card tonight. That was maybe not necessary. He ended up being a free kick in a dangerous position. That wasn't the smartest thing, but they get
Yeah.
emotional. He's an emotional guy, even though he doesn't look it. So I know, to be fair, Ateta too gets emotional. So that's who this team is.
Yeah.
You write them off and then they come back, and that's kind of what they do.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Before we are
Anyway.
accused of talking too much about
And
Arsenal,
old man party is back. Just so you know.
bruh, I think Old Man Partey is really old. I saw KDB accelerate past him, and I just shook my head. I'm like, it started with like half a step, and then it became 3 steps, and then he just gave up. I'm like, KDB is not
Our, bro-
fast.
our brother is old. Leave Partey alone.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but okay.
Leave our Ghanaian brother. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay,
Hmm?
so Yinka Yusuf, we did
Yes,
a
sir.
thing the last 2 weeks. We're doing this
Yep.
GOAT series. 2 weeks ago, we did a World GOAT 11. We
Mm-hmm.
we reviewed it last week, and then we unveiled African GOAT 11 last week. You should be very proud of yourself
11.
because you convinced me to change one of my Africa GOAT 11 picks. I took off Rigobert's song and replaced him with another Cameroonian,
Mm-hmm.
Emmanuel Kunde. I think that was a
Mm-hmm.
big miss on my part. But
Fair
other
enough.
than that, I think my team will remain the same, and my team is Thomas Nkono, Sami Kufor, Keshi, and Kunde. Yaya Toure ahead of them. So that's a back three.
Mm-hmm.
Yaya Toure ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okocha, Rabamaja, Abedi as the core
Abedi.
midfielders. Again, and then
Then where
Salah, Eto, we're in the middle.
and where?
And
Yeah.
then I'm guessing you're not changing yours either.
Nah, I'm not changing mine.
Okay.
I thought
All
about the
right.
Kolo Toure pick for a while, but yeah, I'll keep him.
Yeah, you got you
I'll
got
keep
you
him.
got some pushback about Kolo Toure in our little
Yeah,
friends
but I'll
group.
keep him.
Yeah,
It's
but you're
emotional.
stubborn. You're stubborn.
I'm stubborn. No. I'm not stubborn. I'm not as stubborn as you. But I'll keep Kolo Toure. It's fine.
All right, so we're gonna keep this moving by doing another goat series. This time we will do uh our Niger goat 11. Uh,
Yes.
Yinka, the wise man that he is, told me this wasn't gonna be easy. I agreed with him, but I said the African 11 would be harder. Now I'm not so sure. I think the Niger
Yeah.
one may be the hardest one so far, and I think I know why. I think Nigeria has had like spikes in brilliance over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we've had
Mm-hmm.
those spikes, with the exception of 2013, which was really about the coach, we've had great success.
Mm-hmm.
We've either won something, in Africa or done something on the world stage. Um,
Yeah.
and then in between, there's been not much at all. So there's a lot of pressure between, and I'm editorializing a little bit. The 1980 team, the 94 team, and there's
Just
no one
show us your
worthy.
list. All this one I
I
am
would just
speaking too
show.
much
Okay,
English.
all right, okay. Let's do it. All right. So first, I'm
Let's
gonna
see
let me.
your list. Don't worry. It's
That's
your list.
okay.
I mean, you can.
All right. Let me share. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen like we did
And for our
before.
listeners, I've not seen his list. He hasn't seen mine, and
And
that's how
that
we've done it
that is very true.
for the first two iterations of this series. So
Can you see me? Can you
um,
see my?
yes,
All right.
I can see your screen.
So this is my Niger Goats 11. Let's get it started. I start with my
Let's get it started.
goalkeeper. I went with Nyama. I struggled with this, but so Yinka, you see what I've done. You can't. I'm sorry, you can't really see the full screen, but I put the number of caps they played for Nigeria,
Fair
below
point.
their names, because obviously this came down to Enyama versus Peter Rufai, and I
Yep.
think Enyama played maybe 50 more times than Rufai did. So I figured if they both played excellently, I go with Enyama. So that's why I did that. All right. This is gonna come as no shock to you, but I'm going with a back three. So to start my back three, I
I
went with
was
Joseph
almost
Yobo.
tempted to go with a back three. Almost tempted to go with
You're
a back
welcome.
three. But go
You're
ahead.
welcome.
Go ahead.
So I went with Joseph Yobo. Uh,
Yeah.
Yobo played right back. He played center back. It could play in a pinch. It could play defensive midfield as well.
He
It was a
actually started
ball.
off as a striker.
There you go. It was a ball
Yeah. Started
playing,
off as a striker.
just a good overall footballer. We saw him at Everton. I thought there were seasons where he was their best player, and that was a good Everton, not the joke they've become.
Yeah.
Loyal Nigerian, loyal captain. Um, and I thought he was a good leader of men when he needed to be. So,
Yep.
I'm biased, but I'm a very big fan of this guy. I thought he was also very intelligent. The way he played, he could tackle, he could pass, he could do pretty much everything. It actually kind of reminds me of Kolo Touré a lot.
Yep.
They have
Yeah.
very similar
Yeah.
attributes, similar body types.
Similar track.
So yeah,
Started off
so,
as a
yeah,
striker too.
yeah,
Then right
absolutely.
back, then centre back. Yeah.
Yeah, they could play pretty much anywhere. Yobo is probably slightly more athletic, maybe slightly more of a
Mm-hmm.
natural defender, but yeah, they remind me of each other a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
On the other
Good pick.
side, I tried. I'm like, but no. I think sometimes your height is just your ceiling is just so high, and when you reach it,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's only for like a 2 to 4 year period, I can't ignore it.
Yeah.
So Uche Okechukwu in the 90s, people would not talk about him because they would talk about Kanu and Okocha and all the attacking. But when Keshi's injury started, he was the mainstay. His partner was always changing. Sometimes it was Eguavon, sometimes it was, Chidinwanu, sometimes it was even,
Chidinwanu.
yeah, a defensive midfielder, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Isaac
but
Semitoje.
it was Isaac
There's
Semito,
plenty of people that I
exactly.
played with. Yeah.
But he was the main guy. Um, the one game that stands out for me, and the game itself was not consequential, but Nigeria's third
Mm.
game in USA '94, the World Cup, was against Greece. We won 2-0. It was a relatively easy game, but I don't think I ever knew how big this dude was until, and I don't remember the name of the striker now, for Greece, until they went up against that guy, and he kept getting fouls called against him because every time the ball came to the striker, Uche would just head the ball down over this guy, and the referee would call a foul on him.
That's Emil
I don't
Kostadinov.
like.
That's the Bulgarian. That's the Bulgarian player.
Oh no, I'm actually talking of Greece, the third game, not the
Oh,
first
Greece.
game.
Oh, okay. The third game. Oh,
Greece.
okay. Okay. Okay.
And they kept calling fouls on him. I'm like, it's not his fault that he's big and strong and his timing is perfect. Like, what are you doing? But
Exactly.
anyway, for me, that was the standout game. The game itself was not memorable, but I
Mm-hmm.
remember it like it was yesterday. All right, and then
Good.
uh, all good.
Oh, good. Go ahead.
And then Keshi. I'm not gonna repeat everything I said last week, everything you said last week, but I am gonna
Fair
say
point.
why Christian Chukwu is not on this list, and that was my hardest
Yeah,
one.
just finish your list first before
Finish
you
the
tell
list.
us
Okay,
who's not
all
on
right,
your
okay,
list.
go on. So that's my back three. That's my back three. In defensive mid, this should come as no surprise to anyone. I wish he was less stubborn. I wish he was. I wish he played the politics a little better. I just wish he was less antagonistic. Because I think Nigeria could use his smarts and his brain. He was ambitious, but it
Yeah.
is what it is. But as a player, uh, I don't think I've seen someone play his position as well as he played um, at Tunisia '94. If memory serves, I think we scored 9 goals and he orchestrated 5 of them. So that just doesn't happen. Okay,
From defensive midfield.
from this defensive midfield, and then he shielded that
Yeah.
back for, and he was young. He was young. That was his first real
Yeah.
coming out party for Nigeria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so in front of him, I went with Mudalawal. Of
Mm.
blessed memory. I think he passed in '91. It was
You know that
37.
because of Barista's song, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, you remember that? Okay, it was. I think it passed at 37 or 38. So now we can talk, we can debate. Nigeria has been blessed with a few really, really, really good midfielders. I think it may be the most complete of the attacking ones. I'm not gonna kill my brain cells and try to compare strictly defensive midfielders with creative ones, but of the many
Yeah.
creative ones that have come through, I think it may be the most complete. And you know how much I love JJ. We were young, so we didn't watch him in his prime, but this was the kingpin of Nigerian midfield before the '94
Yeah.
generation came along, and he played 86 times for Nigeria, which back then we didn't play as many games as these players play today. That was something, and he
Yeah.
scored many vital goals. Of course, JJ.
I
You know,
agree.
again, not gonna repeat everything I said yesterday. So you might be wondering, uh, who did I put at the Pele position if Mudalawal and
Okay.
Okocha are on
Okay.
the right and left? I put Kanu there,
Okay.
just mostly because it
Okay.
would be weird if Kanu was even further back than Muda and Okocha, and I thought Kanu had to be there. So again, we talked about Kanu last week, maybe not as much as we should have, but I'm hoping he's on your list, and then you can talk more about him. But I wish he had, I wish he had scored more goals. In terms of silky skills, he has. I don't think he has too many rivals. Probably in his
Yeah.
generation across the world. Um,
Mm.
Being graceful at 6'3.5", 6'4", whatever his height was, uh,
Mm-hmm.
just amazing.
Yeah.
But I
And
thought he
two of
looked.
Nigeria's greatest footballing moments, right? We can actually just attribute to him the Atlanta 96 Olympic team gold medal
Yeah,
and the Japan 93 under 17 World Cup. It was by far the Nigeria's best player in both tournaments. Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Good pick.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you approve.
You've not said anything controversial yet, so I'm fine.
Really, man, I'm so
I'm
sorry to
serious. You
disappoint you.
haven't.
I'm so sorry to
You
disappoint you.
haven't. So
Okay.
go ahead.
You're not gonna kill me for the back three? Gosh, oh my, you're getting soft, man.
No, 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 no,
Anyway.
no, 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 no. Because I almost ended up with a back three also, but
Oh
I ended up
wow, wow.
I gave left back to someone. But go ahead.
Okay. And then, we have a front three, and I'm gonna start with
Mm-hmm.
probably when we were growing up. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not showing clearly. It's Odegbami for those who are watching.
Okay.
Um, he was the first modern Nigerian superstar. He was the first
Yep.
modern Nigerian superstar. He played 46 times for Nigeria. He scored 23 goals. Again, for someone who wasn't strictly a striker, one out of every two is ridiculous. He never played outside Nigeria, but he dominated the local league with Mudalawa, with Shooting
Mm-hmm.
Stars. Is extremely intelligent. He's had a great, post football career. He's a great writer, commentator. He's not a hater. He never hated on the people that came after him. I just always enjoyed his commentary. His love of the game. He's a true statesman. Is a great ambassador for the game, and he had very few real peers when he was playing.
Yeah.
I think it was third in the African Player of the Year voting. And it was instrumental to Nigeria winning our first Nations Cup in 1980, scoring
He's the
three
best
goals, I
winger
believe.
Nigeria has ever had.
Yeah, best
He's the
winger, you
best
said.
winger Nigeria has
Yeah,
ever had.
he defined not just a generation, right? Yinka, what do we always say whenever we see a coach who plays the way we grew up watching the game being played? We say, "Oh, this guy finally understands Nigerian football." Is it really
Yep.
Nigerian football, or is it that 1980 football with Odegbami and yeah, running?
Mudalawal, Christian Chukudem. Yeah.
So I think that's really what it is. It defined what we now say is the way we play ball. On the
Yeah.
other on the other side of it, this might be controversial because this man did not strictly
Mm-hmm.
play on the left.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to get him in there. Again, I value intelligence in the way people play. Um, for the way we played back then, it was always defensively switched on. When you're playing a 4 4
Yeah.
2, your 7 and 11 cannot not play defense. And Finidi would tackle, it would run back, it would occupy space, it would cut inside. He did things, and maybe it was the Ajax, but you know what? No, he did this before moving to Ajax. He did this when he was with Sharks. I think he was just a really, really, really good and intelligent and smart player. So I had to just put him on the left, even though he played on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I thought he
Fair point.
deserved it over some people who were more natural left-sided players or
Yep.
inside strikers. And then finally, obviously, we're not gonna repeat all the things we said last week about the king of
Babaye
goals,
Kini.
Baya Kinney, king of goals. So sad when he passed. So this is my 11. That's it. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. To
Yeah,
what do I
I
owe?
give you your list is very, very, very good.
Oh, thank you,
It's
sir.
Yes, I'll probably give you an A or A plus for this list.
Oh, dang. I can't
Because
believe this.
almost everybody that you have, I have on my list or my bench. So
Oh,
before
wow.
you
All right, I
cross
got to
over
give
to
you my
mine,
bench.
what does your bench look
Yeah,
like?
let me do that real quick. So I have the bench. I have Peter Rufai. I'm following your lead and doing at least one
Mm-hmm.
goalkeeper and 7 outfield players. I have Christian Chukwu. So my issue with Chukwu was he only played 22 times for Nigeria. I don't think I knew that until I started looking. So I'm like, it can't be in the top. So Christian Chukwu, for what he meant as the captain of that 80 team, and then one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite defenders that ever played for Nigeria, Benny Roja, and
Mm-hmm.
Augustine Eguavon for his versatility and his leadership. Those are my
Mm-hmm.
defenders: Christian Chukwu, Benny Roja, Eguavon. Midfield: Henry
Mm-hmm.
Wosu. Again,
Mm-hmm.
when I think about Keshi, I think about Henry Wosu. They were pretty much the one is the midfield version of the other is the defensive version of the other, if that makes sense to me anyway.
Yeah.
It was Okocha before Okocha. It was the bridge
Mm-hmm.
between Mudalawal and Okocha. John Mikel Obi, even though I'm disappointed with how his career ended up, pretty how his career played out. I blame Mourinho for it, but uh, it's still a great player. He's still a loyal captain and all that. And then we talked about both of them last week. Samson Siasa, Daniel Amokachi. They are my strikers or my forwards on the list of
Oh,
it.
okay. Okay. You don't have Austin Eguavon on your list?
I did. Oh, you didn't hear me. So it's Rufai.
Oh, okay. Your two defenders are
Yeah, three.
okay.
Three defenders. Rufai,
Okay.
Chuku, Benny Roja, Austin Eguavon.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Okay.
two midfielders, Unwosu and John Mikel. And then two
Okay.
attackers, Siasi and Amokachi. So I
Oh,
have
okay.
eight.
So you
Yeah.
have eight on your
Yeah.
bench.
You started with the eight, bro.
So
You remember?
we might actually have the same list. It's just that we might have
No
transposed
way.
people. I might have some people on my starting team that are on your bench,
Oh
and
my,
vice
okay.
versa.
Let's get to it. And I'm gonna fix the Odegba midfield. I feel bad. That should not have
Yeah.
happened.
So let me share my screen. So can you see my screen now?
It's coming up. Yes, I can. Let's do it.
Good. So I won't talk about the people that you've talked about. Just
Mm-hmm.
add some points that just to buttress.
Okay.
So my Nigeria 11 goalkeeper is
Oh,
Vincent Inyama.
same.
Same. And you asked a question that if it's nobody around them, just player to player,
Yes.
is he really better than Rufai? I think the answer for me will be no. I think the
Me
two of
too.
them are probably at the same level.
Me too.
But Rufai ended his career with Nigeria on the sour note. He outplayed his relevance, if I can
Hmm.
put it that way. He that France '98 World Cup, he shouldn't have gone for it,
I
and that's
agree.
my last memory of Peter Rufai.
I agree.
And it kind of just tarnishes it a bit. Unlike Enyama, who he was at the top across his career for Nigeria.
Yeah.
And this guy is a local league legend with Enyimba. Is a continental legend with Enyimba also,
Yeah.
right? And in France, he's a legend. In
With
Lille,
Lille. Yeah.
they they love him to death.
It was just back there
They
a couple
believe
weeks
he's
ago. It was just back a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
exact. Aha, aha. So they believe he's. In fact, they said they have Jesus in the goalpost. That's what they keep saying. Yeah, he's religious and he's a pastor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they call him Jesus in the goalpost.
Yeah.
He's a leader. He's solid, professional. He could play on the ground.
Captain.
He could do it all. The captain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Enyama is also my goalkeeper,
And then
slightly
the
ahead of Peter Rufai.
and then the battles with Messi at the World Cup twice at
Yeah,
the
at the
World
World
Cup. You
Cup.
forgot you forgot
Exactly.
that.
Battles with Messi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Enyama takes it ahead of Peter Rufai. Then
Okay.
first centre back for me is Christian
Oof.
Chukwu.
Okay.
And And, maybe his coaching career also tipped or helped a bit.
Makes
But
sense.
Christian Chukwu was Keshi before Keshi.
It was.
If you get what I mean.
It was. No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and if he didn't play much, it was because Nigeria just started coming into competitive football at
Hmm.
the later stage of his career. Unlike Mudalawa, that was way younger when Nigeria
You're not
started,
wrong.
so
Yeah,
he could play a bit more. But Christian Chukwu, without his socks rolled down, he was. I mean, I think Keshi probably looked at him and said, "That's how I want to play."
absolutely.
Yeah. So for me, it was between Chukwu and Uche Okechukwu also,
That was
but
tough.
Uche had to. I had to push Uche to the bench,
Oof.
right?
That's tough.
It was tough,
That's
but
very
I'm
tough.
like, Chukwu captained Nigeria to the 1980
Yeah.
Nations Cup, and I feel kind of a way about it because I told you I was born on
Yeah.
that day,
Yeah. He
so
said so.
yeah, I have to give it to him.
Yeah.
And some people might be wondering, how do you watch these people? Get on YouTube. There are videos
Videos.
on YouTube. And even before then, I have an uncle who is a football fanatic. He has dozens of tapes on Betamax and VHS.
Yeah.
I know some of the young ones here, I don't know what Betamax and VHS, what they are.
They're like,
Google
what's
that
tape?
too, right?
What?
Aha. So I had tape of
Yeah. Yeah.
Nigeria's games even way before I was born,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I watched quite a lot of them. So when I talk about Chuku and I talk about Odegbami, who is also on my list, you will see, you guys should know that it's not just from what we read. We actually
No.
saw their
No.
games. Okay.
Yeah, why? 1 second.
Um,
So 1 second. So
yeah.
I when we both get comments about the show, we send it to each other, right? And we say, so
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, you have a big fan. I told you, my brother-in-law is like your biggest fan. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm with him
Shout
on
out to
this.
him.
I know, right? I'm with him on this vacation, right? And he's like, I'm older than both of you. How do you know all these things? So the question I asked him was, bruh, before 1994, how did we consume football in Nigeria? We
Yeah.
consumed it through the lens of Odegbami and Christian Chuku and Mudalawa, right? And then Keshi was an instant legend. Keshi at
Instant.
21 was already captain. We already thought it was a legend. When I told you
Exactly.
last week, I talked about the day Okwaraji died. Keshi was 27,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
20,
Yeah.
1963, 1989, 26, right? But we already thought he already had the name Big Boss, the nickname Big Boss.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So it
He
was
did.
already everybody's boss. Sometimes you just have it. So anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why Chuku
I
sneaks it just a
I'm not
little
mad at
bit
it. I
ahead of
struggled.
Uche
I
Chuku
struggled. I
for
was
me.
gonna do Chuku and then Yobo to the bench. So, but then I'm like,
No.
Inka is gonna kill me for not having width. So I'm like, okay,
No, no, no. So Keshi, I don't need to
hmm
talk about Keshi. We've
hmm
talked about Keshi too much. Then right back for me to is Joseph Yobo. Based
Wow.
on everything that you said, is a loyal guy, loyal to a fault.
hmm
Even when injuries were killing him, he still turned up for Nigeria,
Yeah.
right? And like you said the caps that he had 101 caps for Nigeria.
He and
That
Enyama.
in itself,
Yeah. He and
he and
Enyama,
Iyama,
they had the
101
same.
caps. Yeah, so shout out to him. Now this is where I told you we can't have so many left backs and just ignore the left back
I
position.
agree. I
And I
agree.
was torn on this.
Mm.
But and this is the only one that's different from your list. Yeah,
Okay. Ooh.
this is
Is
the only one that's
certainly
different from your list.
certainly the most talented. But please go for it. I want to hear this. Go for it.
So I take collective whatever, right? Sele was part of that under 17 team
It was.
that won. He was part of the Atlanta 96 team. And he
It
wasn't
was.
just a passenger.
No.
He was the backbone of both teams. Even in
Yeah.
Atlanta
He scored.
under 17 was voted on the team of the tournament.
Yeah.
Atlanta, he scored multiple goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he went to Anderlecht, he was voted the best young player
In
of the
Belgium.
league
Yeah.
multiple times
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Belgium. Then he came to Chelsea. He played well at Chelsea. He won leagues. He won FA Cups while he was at Chelsea. So I now looked at his whole portfolio and I'm like, we all just look at him based on what eventually happened in his career.
Yeah.
But this guy actually, he has a decent portfolio of work, you know? he only played for Nigeria 27 times. I get that.
Yeah.
And that is largely because of we had a time where the young players just couldn't make it into the team.
Because the
Nigeria
team was
kept
so
on
good.
using old
Yeah.
players. So by the time the old players now rotated out, Sele was already playing for Chelsea before they even called him. And he should have been playing for Nigeria since he was at Anderlecht. Even immediately after they finished on the 70, I thought he was good enough to play for Nigeria. But based on what I've said, right, especially his tenure at Chelsea, what he did at Anderlecht, winning the Under-17 World Cup for Nigeria, Olympic gold medal. He won the only Nations Cup he played. We came third, and he has quite a number of personal, individual awards in Belgium.
Yeah.
So I now compare that with Ben Roha, who I initially put on this list before.
Yeah.
Before I put Celestine, it was Ben Roha.
Yeah.
And I look at it, I'm like, Ben Roha only had one good tournament for Nigeria. But it was a very, very good tournament.
Yeah.
Which
Tunisia
was the
94.
AFCON in 94.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. He was arguably Nigeria's best player by Rashid Yekini. He had a very, very good tournament. And I'm like, will I now put Oroa here ahead of Sele because of just one good tournament? Where Sele had a fantastic tournament for the Olympics and the Under-17 and all the other things he did at club level, So that's why I put Celestine ahead of Iroa, and Iroa is on my bench.
Okay.
So even if you look at my bench list right now, I put Iroa / Celestine, right?
Because you didn't get a chance to correct it.
I only picked this 5 minutes before we started. I just said, you know what? I think Sele has a better body of work across board, than Iroa. Not just from a national team perspective, but just from a career standpoint, So that's why I went for Celestine.
Okay.
That's the only person I have that you don't have on either your bench or your starting 11.
May just real quick. My only thing would be, you mentioned his club career, you mentioned U17, you mentioned the Olympics. None of those count towards the actual Eagles. But go on. Go right ahead.
No. So are we doing Eagles 11?
Well, we're doing Nigerian 11.
Nah.
We're doing Nigerian
so
11.
It has to cut across board. Now.
Okay. All right.
Won't it?
That's fair.
Because when we're doing World 11, we didn't just look at national teams now. We looked at their club careers.
That's fair.
Too, didn't we?
No, that's fair. Yeah.
So I think that's, if you take out the club and the whole portfolio, if you ask me who's the better left back at their peak, eye test is Ben Roa. To be fair,
I think Babayaro was the better player. Football player.
See, Akin, Ben Roa could play right back and left back and play anywhere. In fact,
yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I like Ben Roa, to be fair.
Me too.
He's a fantastic player.
He's on my bench.
So Sele, but I think Sele hedges it. I love Sele too, right?
Yeah.
Sele was under 17. He was the youngest in the team, and he was just. I was like, who is this small boy that was,
Yeah.
Man. So Sele's my left back. And you know me, I like going traditional back four.
I know.
I was this close to cancelling my traditional back four, but I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So in CDM, Olise, same as you.
Of course.
I mean, himself and Yekini, that coordination, that connection in Tunisia 94 was something else. In fact, when they had a gala a couple of years back, he also said it that Yekini would just tell him, "Nosiwaju."
I know. I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
From his leg straight to Yekini's chest, and ball is in the back of the net.
Yeah.
His debut for Nigeria was in the national stadium against, was it Ethiopia? We won that game 9-1 or thereabout. And I'm like,
I think it was Ethiopia. I think it was 7. I can't remember.
Was it 7? I can't remember.
I confused it with Burkina Faso. Finidi's debut. Yeah.
No, they're different.
I know.
Finidi's debut is the one where we didn't have shots, and we had to cut our tracks.
Yeah.
And where's that shot?
We won 7-1.
In the first half. And everybody was looking awkward, and we didn't even know that they cut the track for their shots. That was Finidi's debut.
Yeah.
But I remember the Olise debut, we were wearing white. It was against, I think it was Ethiopia, and it was 7-1 or thereabout.
Wow.
Yeah. So Olise makes my team too.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get controversial.
No, that's not controversial. This is Mikel, right?
So, yes, this is
No,
Mikel.
it's not controversial.
Mikel is the most decorated Nigerian footballer ever.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Is between himself and Kanu Wako,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but
So somebody will say, but two of them didn't win Nations Cup for no. Mikel won one in
yeah,
2013. Sorry, was he part of that team? He
he
was
was the
now. Yeah, he
captain.
was.
He was the captain of the 2013.
Aha, the one that then Keshi was the coach, right?
Yeah, he was the captain.
Okay. So Mikel for me is the most decorated. Yes, he won. He was the
Mm-hmm.
captain in 2013. So Kanu
Mm-hmm.
didn't win the Nations Cup, right?
No.
So that is how I think Mikel edges it in terms of
So
you
you're
know.
you're Mikel over Kanu.
No. Kanu is on
Oh,
the
okay.
list. I
Okay.
want Kanu to be on the list.
Oh, okay.
Kanu is on
Okay.
the list. I'm just saying the only reason why I will forget the eye test to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is his achievements, club level,
Okay.
national team level, right? And even his loyalty to Nigeria. The only
Yeah.
reason why he fell out with Chelsea was because he chose to play for Nigeria at the Olympics.
Yeah. I agree.
And Chelsea was very, very furious about it. I'm like, I have to play for Nigeria.
Yeah.
Right? Despite what the nation did for him, his father has been kidnapped twice or thrice right now.
It's
In fact, there
ridiculous.
was a match that they were about to play. He just got word that his dad was kidnapped and he kept quiet. He still played the match. It was after the match he now told the team that this is what happened back home.
Hmm.
But Mikel, when he came out in the under-17s, he was like a man amongst his peers. And I'm not saying physically, but from his IQ, footballing IQ, he was way ahead of his peers.
It was.
Then we fast forward to the was it the under-21 World Cup where he and Messi, the tournament where we played Argentina in the
Yeah.
final, that
2005.
Messi was Messi Mikel.
2005. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was the second best player in that tournament.
It
This was
was.
when Mikel was offensive.
Yeah.
He was the attacking midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
And all through his career, just to show you how good he is. Mikel will play CDM for Chelsea and come to Nigeria and play central
And
attacking
play number
midfielder
10. Yeah.
every time. And they go back to Chelsea, go back to CDM.
Yeah.
And he you could see that he was passionate about the country, and he was a very, very good player. Even the under-23, the bronze medalist Olympics team in 2016, there was a time he actually said, "No, what? I'll take care of the team's expenses," when the nation and the organizers were messing up.
That's sad.
But ignore all of that, his loyalty and stuff. He's Nigeria's most decorated footballer. I think he needs to be on the
High
list.
quality player.
I'm
Yinka,
surprised. I'm surprised he's not on your bench.
No, it's on
No,
my
no,
bench, man. I think you missed
Oh,
some.
okay.
Yeah, it's on my bench. No,
Oh,
so
okay.
quick
So who
one.
is the player that you now have that I don't have, which is Celestine? So who is the
Okay.
player on your side?
Let me give you
Oh,
my
it's
bench
Henry.
again.
It's Henry Nwosu.
Henry Wosu.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
That's what you
Sorry,
don't have.
it's Henry
So
Nwosu.
I think
That's what I
Obi
don't have.
is the player that I've criticized the most and defended the most of anyone on this team, right? And mostly it's because of Jose Mourinho. I think if he had gone to Man U, he could have been the understudy to Paul Scholes and developed his game in that direction, right? This is not just because I'm Nigerian. I think from what I saw at that U21, I don't put much stock in U17, but U21, you're almost a man, right? From what I saw in
Yeah.
that U21 in 2005, he had the goods. It could have
Yep.
been, Lampard, Gerrard type, easy, with the same accomplishments, with the goals, with the leadership, all of that. But he chose Chelsea. It is what it is. He played many games. But my thing is, I think Chelsea fans can speak for themselves. I'm not going to try and speak for them. But I think they'll never see him as being as good as ACN in that position, even though I think is 55 million times the player that ACN ever was. And he never did the attacking thing, so we'll never know how good it could have been. So that's Mikel.
So, but in the CDM position,
Yeah.
right? For Mourinho to keep playing you at CDM, it says something, doesn't it?
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
And he has his own podcast right now called the Obi-Wan Podcast, and he got Mourinho on board on one of the episodes, and you could see that they had a very, very a very, very cordial relationship. So
Mm.
despite the fact that whatever might have happened with Mourinho at Chelsea and stuff, right? And just it tells you the nature or the quality of the player. I like players they have team mentality, that are ready to sacrifice their own personal what's the word now? Their own personal benefits to say, this is what the team needs me to do, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. And that's what he is. Comes to Nigeria, oh, we have a defensive midfielder in what's this Leicester guy's name?
Ndidi.
In Didi, right? We don't need you to play CDM. We need you to be up front. Please play central attacking midfield. And so that's fine. And he plays it. And he plays it very well. Very, very well.
Yeah.
So Obi makes my list. So what I have next is, let me go back to the list. So we both have JJ.
Of
I mean,
course.
this, we don't need to talk too much about JJ.
Okay.
Then up front, I have the three-man attack.
All right.
Kanu Akpo. You've already spoken about Kanu. He's the most skilled. Well, don't let me say he's the most skillful, but between him and JJ,
Yeah.
you can actually, it's 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
Kanu has this very, very deceitful skill to himself. He scores goals at times that you wonder who thinks of stuff like this, So Kanu makes my list. Is on paper probably was the second most decorated Nigerian footballer. Maybe it will be 1A, he 1B. He didn't win the Nations Cup. That's what edges it for me.
Yeah.
And on the right, I have Mathematical Odegbami also.
Yeah.
You're right. Nigeria's first footballing superstar. This guy, oh God, is Nigeria's best winger ever. Forget anybody. Forget Finidi George. Forget Tijani Babangida, Friday Lahore, Pius Ikedia. Mention anybody. This guy could dribble. He could. Segun Odegbami was so good. He was playing like a Brazilian.
Yeah.
As far back as 1970. He fleet-footed, leg overs, all the things you see footballers do today.
Yeah.
Segun was doing it long time ago. Long time ago. So definitely makes the list. And obviously, the Baba of them all. Nigeria's greatest striker, Baba Yekini.
Yeah.
Yekini wasn't that skillful, but Yekini was all about, I want to score. I don't care about what you guys are doing. Just, give me the ball. And he had this chest control. The number of goals Yekini scored for Nigeria with that chest control and shooting, it's probably like 40 or 30% of his goals tally for Nigeria.
Yeah.
Fantastic player. Love him. May so rest in peace.
Amen.
So that's my starting 11. And on my bench, we have almost the same set of people.
Okay, tell me.
I have Peter Rufai.
Okay, I did
Peter
too.
Rufai as the goalkeeper. So that means there should be one other person. So I actually have Uche Okechukwu.
Okay.
I have Austin Eguavon.
Me too.
Right? I have, so those are the two defenders.
Not
Uche Okechukwu and
Iroha.
Austin Eguavon. Sorry, I have Iroha.
Yeah, me
So
too.
it's Iroha,
Me too.
Uche Okechukwu, Austin Eguavon.
Okay.
Then
So the
in
only difference,
midfield,
Yinka,
I have
the only difference is Christian Chukwu and Uche Okechukwu on our bench. That's the difference for us, for the three of us. For defenders. For defenders.
Yeah, for defenders. Yeah. Then for midfielders, I have Finidi George.
Okay.
I have Mudalawal.
Okay. Oof.
And I have Mudalawal on the bench.
Oof.
Mudalawal, Finidi George.
Oof.
It was a tough one. It was a tough one for me too.
Oof.
Yeah. Obi and Mudalawal, I struggled.
That's very tough.
I really, really struggled. By the end of the day, I consider portfolio of work in addition to just eye test.
I understand.
Yeah, so that's how Muda got to the bench.
Oof, that's tough.
I just looked at Muda and Odegbami, and anybody might say, but they played well for Shooting Stars.
They did.
1976
together.
Cup Winners' Cup. Yeah, the two of them, forget it. They were the backbone of that team. So they're local legends. Forget it. Even till today in Ibadan, right? Yeah. Muda Lawal is revered, respected. Himself, Shegun Odegbami, Felix Owolabi, those three respected.
Yeah.
Then I have Samson Siasia,
Me too.
Daniel Amokachi.
Yeah, me too.
So that's my list.
So I think
That's my list.
overall, I don't have
Yeah,
Celestine Babayaro. You don't have Henry
I don't
Nwosu.
have Erin Wosu.
That's
Yeah,
it. It's kind of amazing when you think about it.
yeah,
And we didn't
yeah.
coordinate. We didn't speak at all about this.
Nope, we did not.
So okay, yeah, I love the list. This is the most. I think this is the most. This is the most. This is the closest we've gotten. I
Aligned.
think of the three. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
The
this is
only
the
thing I have a problem
closest.
with is Mudalawal not making the 11. I just don't think, and I Obi's on my bench. You know, uh, I don't know, man.
Tomatoes, potatoes. You can.
But
So if you tell me now that, oh, how do I feel about swapping Obi and Muda Lawal? Yeah, it's all good.
okay.
But if you had come to me and say you want to swap Yekine with, let's say, Samson Siasia, I'll
No,
say, what are you smoking?
no,
Do you
no,
understand?
no.
Aha.
You know,
So if on this list, right, the two people that I struggled with were Babayaro and Mikel Obi.
yeah, that makes sense. Did you struggle with
Yeah, they were the two
Amunike?
people I struggled with.
How far did Amunike
So
come?
So on my jotter here, when I was pulling this together,
Yeah.
let me just reel out all the names that I had.
Okay.
Right. So Amunike,
Yeah.
Yakubu Ayegbeni,
Uh-huh.
Tijani Babangida,
Yeah.
Finidi George,
Yeah.
Ben Roa, Unduka Ugbade.
Yeah.
I almost put Unduka on the bench ahead of Austin Iguavon.
Yeah, but it wasn't excellent enough for long enough. But go on. It wasn't.
Yeah, but see, once again,
Yeah.
Unduka played his whole life for Nigeria.
I know.
Under 17, under 21, under 23 national team.
I know.
Right?
But he didn't do enough
And
at the national team.
He captained Nigeria's. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I agree. And that's why he's not on this list.
Yeah.
He captained Nigeria's under 17 in 1985.
Yeah, the first tournament.
The first tournament. So I have Taribo West.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have Issa Sufulue on right back, along with Guavon. Then for me, the best Nigerian defender, not the best, but very close to Keshi, is one young man called Godwin Okpara. Do you remember Godwin Okpara?
Oh
yeah. Myself and my brother will say that in terms of eye test, Godwin Okpara is arguably Nigeria's best defender ever. But injuries, maybe wrong career decision, but the little time he spent at PSG, God, Godwin Okpara. I mean, eye test too. So those are the bubbling unders that I had on my list.
Okay.
Amunike was a bubbling under.
So when I thought about Amunike, I'm like, do you take the body of work or do you just take the spikes? Amunike, coming out of the golden generation, only played 27 times for Nigeria. That's not his fault, right? He had a bad knee.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. But at the same time, if he's competing against people who played 62 times, now was Finidi on your bench?
Yeah.
Okay, so Finidi was on your bench. Okay. So I'm like, okay. But at the same time, he got to Barcelona, which is hard to do. Back then, Barcelona was not signing Africans. Let's just call it what it is. Not Africans who don't play for European teams anyway. He played for Sporting. It was excellent. He played for Barcelona. Injuries got the best of him.
For Zamalek, he was very excellent. For
Zamalek, oof, it was amazing. How you feel about Godwin Okpara is how I feel about Andrew Uwe when we're talking of, defensive left back, right back type, hybrids.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel about him. He ended up, I think he went to Belgium, early in his career or whatever. I just always thought, when I would watch him, and I haven't seen videos of him since back then. So this is straight from my memory from, I don't know, 35 or so years ago. I just always thought his movement was intelligent. He knew what he was doing. That's kind of how I feel about it. But this was fun.
It was a toss-up between Amunike and Amokachi. And frankly,
really?
I just looked at it and was like, yeah. I'm
Interesting.
serious. It was a toss up between because Siasia, I'm not taking Siasia
Of
off my
course.
list.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Siasia since under 21s in 1983
Yeah.
with Osaro Abobai for
Yeah.
Mondio Diaka and the rest of them. Nah, Samson Siasia is for me is up there. So it
Yeah.
was Daniel Amakachi
Yeah. I
and
think the
Amunike. So I
27
just
games for me in modern times just felt like not enough. You know, when
yeah,
someone else is doing 101, you know, it just
exactly.
it didn't feel enough for
It
me.
just didn't feel enough. Anyway, so this is the most aligned we've been so far on this
So this
list.
is good. We should stop now since we've
We should
gotten to
stop now.
alignment.
So we have there's a convergence kind of. We should stop. We
Oh
should
my
stop.
gosh.
Anyway, so that's our podcast for the week.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening in, sending in comments. Please continue to do that across all our social media platforms. Subscribe, smash the notification bell so that you can get content when we release it. And please tell your friends about us. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they will be interested in the detailed analysis and how we go into the nitty-gritties of some of the topics that we talk about. Akin, last words from you.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you, Inka. Thank you, everyone, for the engagement. We actually hit our 5,000th, I think,
View.
watch.
View.
View.
Yeah.
Yeah, view. That's how you say it.
Yeah.
5,000th view. This time last week. So
Yeah.
baby steps, but we're doing it. So yeah. Yay for us, Inka. Yay for us. So thank you, everybody.
Yay. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, see you next week. Bye bye.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.